Everyone hits a point where the noise, the stress, the sheer friction of modern life feels like too much. The instinct is to drop everything, walk away, and find some quiet corner of the world to simply exist. Historically, this is the path of the sannyasi, the renunciate who abandons society to find spiritual peace. When most people hear the word yoga, they picture a physical workout class, or on a slightly deeper level, they imagine it as a strict method to shut out the material world and retreat into isolated meditation. But in the early 20th century, the Indian philosopher Sri Aurobindo proposed a counterargument. He observed that if you have to abandon human life to find God, your spiritual journey is fractured. You haven't solved the problem of existence. You have merely walked away from it. The ultimate aim of a spiritual life is to stay right here, in the heavy reality of the world, and change the nature of how we live it. To see how we get so tangled up, we have to look at what Aurobindo calls the threefold life. Our existence is split into three competing parts: the material body, the mental intellect, and the spiritual essence. The tragedy of the strict materialist is that they pour all their energy into the body and survival. They build houses, accumulate wealth, and secure their physical safety, while the quiet existence of the soul dims out entirely. The traditional spiritual seeker makes the exact opposite mistake. They view the body as a trap and the mind as a distraction. They starve the physical form and bypass the intellect to launch themselves at the divine, leaving their earthly self to wither. We take the essential components of our own nature and force them into a brutal tug-of-war. We use our own philosophies to tear ourselves apart. If we look back across millions of years, we see that humans aren't the only ones striving for something higher. Nature itself is performing a massive, slow-motion yoga, an unconscious, relentless push toward perfection. Look at this ladder of evolution. Nature first established a stable foundation of raw matter, the biological body. Out of that machinery, it grew the mind, gaining intellect and reason. Now, nature is reaching for a third step, a higher spirit, a unified consciousness. Every time we feel a deep, unexplainable longing for peace or meaning, we are actually feeling the evolutionary engine of nature trying to wake up to its own divine reality. Nature moves incredibly slowly, so thousands of years ago, human beings developed systems to compress that slow evolutionary timeline into a single lifetime. That is what yoga actually is. But these systems became specialized. Hatha yoga focuses exclusively on the physical body. Raja yoga disciplines the mental kingdom to quiet the noise of thought. Other paths isolate a single human capacity, pushing it to its absolute limit. Aurobindo looked at these paths and saw a glaring flaw. Nature spent eons building a complete human being. Gaining spiritual enlightenment at the cost of your earthly life is a failure of nature's ultimate goal. We do not have to choose between living in the modern world and reaching enlightenment. They are the same project. In integral yoga, you don't launch your soul out of your body. You quiet the ego, pulling a higher spiritual force into your human vessel. This energy doesn't erase your intellect or physical form. It reorganizes them into luminous instruments. You aren't escaping the earth to find the divine. You are bringing the divine down to operate directly through your everyday actions. This means that the workplace, the kitchen, and your daily relationships are the actual laboratories for human evolution. Achieving this state does not require a change of clothes. You don't have to leave your family or sit for decades in a Himalayan cave. When you accept life in its absolute totality, without carving out the parts you dislike, or reject the demands of the physical world, the friction stops. And that is the alchemy. The realization that existence itself, in all its chaotic detail, is the ultimate spiritual practice. As Aurobindo wrote, "All life is yoga.